Today, in this explainer, we're decoding a deeply raw, intense philosophy on mental toughness. We're going to look at exactly how to completely rewire your brain's survival instincts, focusing on the foundational mindset of David Goggins, a guy who literally transformed himself from a depressed, overweight exterminator into a Navy SEAL. Look, this isn't just your standard motivation speech. We're talking about the actual mechanics of taking forceful control of your own mind. So let's dive right into a pretty jarring truth. In our modern world, we are incredibly plugged in, right? We've got our phones, our laptops, just endless access to answers. But when you face real visceral hardship, when you're going through deep depression, severe tragedy, or just hitting rock bottom, all that tech is useless. You simply cannot Google a solution to true internal suffering. You might have a therapist, you might have friends, but in the darkest moments of real life, you are entirely alone. 24. Think about that number for a second. For 24 hours a day, you are completely alone inside your own head. And you're sharing that space with a brain that actively wants to control you. So your brain is constantly whispering to you, trying to protect you by pulling you into little pockets of comfort. It always wants to take the easy road out. Section 1. The mind's ultimate battlefield. Here's the deal. If you don't actively take control of your mind during the hard times, your own brain is going to control you. It will gladly drag you down into a state of failure just to keep you comfortable. You have to take the wheel. You must dictate the destination and tell your brain exactly how you're going to get there. Because honestly, if you let your brain's desire for comfort take over when things get tough, it's just over. You lose the battle. Section 2. Forcing the brain to adapt. So how do we fix this? There's actually a brilliant algorithm for forced adaptation. The source material details some incredible struggles, like failing a military entrance exam due to reading comprehension or literally sinking like a stone in a pool because of being negatively buoyant. The process to overcome this is brutal but simple. First, you face the failure head-on. Next, you go back, and again, and again. You read the paragraph, you don't get it, you write it out 50 times. Then, and this is absolutely crucial, you remove any alternative exit strategy. No plan B. By trapping yourself in the struggle, you force the final step. Your brain finally accepts that it has no choice but to adapt and overcome. The kicker here is that your mind is way too smart to fall for a lie. It knows when you're faking it. When people say, "Oh, I'm trying so hard," but they leave a little back door open just in case they want to quit, the mind knows there's no real truth behind that effort. You literally have to lock yourself into the struggle so deeply that there's zero way out. When the alarm goes off and boom, you go right back into the suffering, that is the exact second the adaptation triggers. Section 3. Engineering a new normal. Now, this is a genuinely fascinating psychological trick. The source material shares a story about living in a rundown $7 a month place as a kid. When you're at that absolute bottom, your mind just accepts it. It says, "Okay, Roger that, this is home." But as soon as you move to a slightly nicer $236 a month place, you taste comfort. And with comfort comes this paralyzing fear of ever losing it and going back to the bottom. But by intentionally engineering your mindset to return to that $7 a month mentality, by making absolute hardship your baseline, you program your brain to completely eliminate the fear of suffering. Let's look at how wild this new normal gets in practice. A standard Navy SEAL training program is 6 months long, right? But due to sheer physical breakdown, he was stuck in that program for an unprecedented 18 months. He endured 3 separate hell weeks in a single year. Your body is completely breaking down. How on earth you survive that? By telling your mind that being broken is just the new normal. If you expect to feel healthy, you're gonna quit. But if you accept that your everyday job is just pure suffering, your mind actually stops fighting the pain and just starts operating within it. To survive this engineered hell of stress fractures and duct-taped feet, he had to mentally immerse himself entirely into the environment. You can't just be a tourist in the suffering. You have to become the CEO of your own suffering. You immerse yourself so deeply into the pain that the outside world doesn't even exist anymore. 106. That number's just staggering. That is the amount of weight, in pounds, he had to drop just to qualify to enter SEAL training. Before this, he was pushing 300 pounds, making $1,000 a month spraying cockroaches for Ecolab. And the crazy part? He honestly thought he was operating at 100% of his potential back then. But once he engineered that grueling new normal, he realized something profound. We have absolutely no idea what we're actually capable of until we get obsessed with the struggle. Section 4. Harnessing power from disadvantage. Picture this for a second. You wake up at 3:30 in the morning. You're completely alone. You are literally wrapping duct tape around your broken feet and shins just to be able to stand up, fully knowing you're about to compete in the hardest military training on Earth against guys who are completely healthy. You are at a massive disadvantage. But here's the magic. When you are that broken and you choose to show up anyway, that exact brokenness turns into a profound source of immense power. Biologically, what's happening is you're hacking into your sympathetic nervous system, your body's involuntary fight or flight response. When you refuse to quit, even when things suck unbelievably bad and you have nowhere else to go, your body dumps this massive charge of energy into your system. You can't use it all the time, obviously, but when you're willing to do what healthy people simply refuse to do, you tap into a feeling of absolute invincibility. What's really fascinating here is how extreme physical misery acts as the ultimate filter. When you are truly suffering, your brain completely stops caring about past grievances. All that superficial anger, like wanting to prove something to your high school bullies or your dad, it completely burns away because, frankly, it's not strong enough to keep you warm. The mind drops all that baggage and shifts strictly to survival mode. We have to win it right here. We have to keep going. Section 5. The path to inner peace. To really understand this, we need to talk about the concept of mineral soil. Because that superficial anger and fake motivation, it's going to burn out the second things get really tough. Your true drive has to come from a much, much deeper place. It comes down to this unburnable foundation, the mineral soil. You literally cannot burn dirt. This is the absolute core of your soul. And you don't just stumble upon this layer. You only uncover it by spending a massive amount of time holding yourself fiercely accountable to the person you truly want to be. A lot of people want to fast-track their journey straight to inner peace, but he didn't start with peace and self-love. He looked in the mirror and was profoundly disappointed in himself. He had to forge his self-respect through the absolute misery of holding himself accountable every single day. See, true peace isn't found by avoiding the hard things. It's found on the exact opposite end of trials, tribulations, suffering, and doing right by yourself. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about. What is your new normal? Are you going to let your brain dictate a life of comfortable mediocrity? Or are you willing to face the battlefield of your own mind? Uncovering that unburnable mineral soil requires stepping directly into the fire. The tools are already in your head. The only question left is, are you willing to suffer to find your peace?